Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to another episode. My name's Chris Inglezu, and if you haven't joined me here before, then welcome. Please do hit the relevant buttons and do all of those things that really help me out. Very much appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to get straight into it. Today, I am so happy. It's a fantastic day for me because yesterday, this has been a lifelong dream for me, and I'll show you in a little while, just when I'm finished waffling away. But this has been a lifelong dream for me, and I've finally yesterday gone and picked up a young Emerald Tree Boa. For those of you that don't know much about Emerald Tree Boas, this particular species is Corallus caninus. And they are absolutely amazing, bright green, often have the yellow underbellies, tree boas. Fantastic reptile. It's one of those, what do you call it, like a wish list species. So for me, many of you will know me, you know I've been keeping fish species since I was a very little boy. So we're looking at 31, 32 years now, and along that time I've also kept a number of reptiles. I've always been really interested in wildlife, and reptiles are one of those things I've always had an affinity to. And along the years I've had snakes and lizards, rescued a good few iguanas over the years, and rehomed and so on. But the emerald tree boa has always been one of those species that, has been, first of all, they're really expensive. So it's always been sort of out of the price range, unrealistic. But on top of that, there was always the issue around wild caught specimens most of the time. That you're talking, some years ago. And not only the sort of ethical side around that, but as a young person getting into these things, you're more sort of concerned about what people say in terms of them coming in with parasites and illnesses, and you not knowing how to deal with those things, and it requiring very specific medications and so on. It happens in the fish industry as well. Perfect example is the ultim angelfish. They often come in with very particular little bugs that we need to get rid of if we want to keep them long term. So it's only been in recent times that people have really properly begun to breed them, and there's not really many people in the UK breeding them. So I was very lucky to come across a guy who does. Well, periodically he does, and after a very long time, I think it's been about a year to be honest, of different things popping up and changing. I had originally agreed to get one about a year ago when he had some babies, and turned out that the one I had chosen didn't make it, which often happens. It's not easy breeding animals, and sometimes these things do happen. So yeah, it's taken some time. I said, all right, you know what, I'll be patient, and it took a whole year. So in the meantime, I allowed the enclosure that I had created to really mature, and it's been amazing. It had nothing in there except for plants, and it's just been maturing. Some of you guys would have seen it on my Instagram page, CE Fish Essentials. And yesterday I finally got to pick up this wonderful little baby emerald tree boa and introduce it to its new enclosure. It's been a very, very interesting process. The breeder doesn't keep the snakes in the same way as I do, so he had some worries, reservations about would it be suitable, would the snake do well, and so there is still that question rising. Other breeders I've spoken to, including the wonderful Ed Marino, who's been so helpful to me with his information and knowledge, have been a lot more sort of positive and praising around the enclosure. I mean, even the breeder said the enclosure looks amazing. He was just curious as to whether the snake would do well there. So we're yet to see. Oops, sorry, I got cut off there. Maximum recording time reached. So what I was saying was I put my heart and soul into making sure this setup is correct. I mean, I've got little mini extractor fans to regulate the humidity, and all of the different little techie bits to monitor what percentage humidity I have and adjust that accordingly. So many different things, temperature, different types of mats for heating in different positions, of different types of perches at different positions for different temperatures, and you know, protected areas where it's a bit more foliage, and then a bit more exposed areas where there's more light, water sources. Honestly, it's been an interesting journey with this this little setup. And yesterday the snake went in. I took a few quick videos during that process, so I'll show you, but I really was just looking to get the snake in the enclosure and let it settle down, so I didn't do too much. This morning I had a very quick little look, and she was asleep on her perch. She chose a really good perch in a really good position in the tank where the temperature is really nice. So I think it's about 27 degrees ish in that area. And yeah, so far so good. I'm so just relieved at this point. I've got to say, it's very stressful though, guys. I'm checking every 5-10 minutes just to see, has she blinked, you know, forgive the term blinked, but you know what I mean. So yeah, anyway, I thought it might be a good opportunity to talk a little bit about Emerald Tree Boas. So the one I have is a juvenile, so not long really, been a neonate, I suppose. It's on its 9th feed. It's just going into shed at the moment, so yeah, an interesting time. It was kind of finding its way around the enclosure yesterday, with definitely a more limited range of vision, but the senses were incredible. And now, bearing in mind, guys, I was saying the breeder keeps them in a lot more sterile environments, so that's usually a lot more efficient and easy for maintenance, for breeding especially, and keeping on top of waste and these type of things. So you know, you're talking about a little grate, a little fence looking thing that it sits on, holds onto, or a thin twig, a couple of twigs, and then tissue underneath with, you know, usually sprayed with water to maintain the moisture levels, and kept in a room where the temperature is okay, like it's the right temperature. So everything's very stable, very easy to maintain. And so this snake probably hasn't had a lot of opportunity. It would have been the first time yesterday that it's experienced being around plants and twigs, like, you know, like set up in a proper habitat, like where it would be from, with like a little water source and lots going on in the tank. So watching the snake go in there and sort of sense its way around the enclosure very systematically, by the way, towards the ground at the back, and then to the front, check out the water a little bit, where are the walls of the enclosure, then moving up a level, checking out the twigs, where is everything, then moving up a level. And it was so interesting to watch the snake figuring out, like, how big is this place that I'm in and what is in here. And yeah, it was just incredible to watch some of these natural behaviors come out. A perfect example was it positioned itself on its favorite little twig. It had got dark by that point, and these are a nocturnal species, so they go into sort of when they are looking for food, they go into a more predatory state. And bearing in mind the snake has probably had only a small little enclosure, it wouldn't have the opportunity to do some of these behaviors in the same way, and was being fed from above, which is you know, it's fine. The snake's got a very good feed response, which is a testament to the breeder. But yeah, this one was curled around the little perch on the twig, and then hanging the head down, which is a classic Emerald Tree Boa behavior when it's ready to accept some sort of a like a prey item that might come running past. Now, having been to the exact area where these snakes exist in the wild, so it was along the Orinoco River system, I was along the Atabapo, the Inirida, the what other ones, Atakavi. Those snakes exist in exactly those places, and having been to those places, I had a really good idea of what the snakes would want, and also how, you know, the conditions that they really endure, because, you know, in captivity you've got these species that are very delicately cared for, and, you know, they are babies at the end of the day. The one I've got is a baby, and so you have to take care of them and make sure that whatever we're doing in our contained environment, we're not missing something, because it's not easy to create an ecosystem inside a contained environment and do it in such a way where there is the right balance for those species. You may have the tiniest little bit more organic material than you need, or moisture, and it's going to create mold, and it's going to end up inside. If you've got stagnant air in there, you're going to get probably spores sitting on the snake, or breathing them in, respiratory issues, and so on and so on. And any snake keepers or Emerald Tree Boa keepers that may watch this video, you would have heard, if not experienced, this type of thing. So yeah, there's a lot to really consider. So I'm glad that I've had a chance to sit over a year and watch this enclosure, because I've really had a chance to, there's no distraction of creatures inside. I just have to look at what's going on, look at the conditions, and make sure that there isn't anything unbalanced that might cause some kind of negative impact on the snake. And we'll have to keep watching that as well as we go along. So yeah, it's been really exciting today to see. The light came on. We've just had the change in the daylight hours, so it was good in a way, because some natural daylight came in for a bit longer than usual, and then the light came on, so it wasn't really a shock for the snake, or, you know, it was dark and then suddenly bam, the light comes on. So yeah, what else? Oh yeah, so what I was going to say to you was these young snakes, they're known, when you see them, you look them up, they're bright green, they've got usually very yellow or white underbellies, but I mean the yellow underbelly is really striking. And the interesting thing about the babies is that they are not born that color. So they have what is called, I think, as an ontogenetic or ontogenic, I may be wrong, I can't remember the exact term. Look it up, you'll find it quite easily, or I'll put it on the screen anyway. I just slipped my mind for now. A change in color, basically. So they're born usually orangey color, orangey reddy type color, and they have the white markings you find on the back are usually there. So what they say is that what the snake has in terms of white coloration is usually what they'll have as an adult, but what changes is the orange coloration. So I think around about somewhere between 6 months to a year old, you start to get this change happening, and they begin to turn green. Now this has been an interesting topic for me, because I thought, well, what is the purpose of this? Why would the snake do that? I've not really come across anything online that gives me any solid reason for that. I mean, please, in the comments, if you know this information, please do share it with me. I'd love to learn more and have a good discussion on this. But my theory is that the reason for being a more orangey color, as opposed to being in the green coloration where the snakes, you know, go up right into the canopy, they need to be green, well, green and white actually, is that they may spend some time in the leaf litter at first. And that may be because they're quite small, they have to prey on smaller items that they don't find in the canopies. And then as they get older, they potentially move up into catching other types of prey. And now that's a very interesting thing, to not only change coloration but change behavior. Like if you've been born into a behavior, then it's going to be this really innate thing that makes you go, right, I need to now go up into the trees and start looking for things. So again, very, very interesting changes. It would be fascinating if somebody has studied this, or if there are studies out there that have observed this type of change. I would love to know if this is actually true. What I have, coming back to that was what I was going to say earlier as well. So having been in that part of the world where those snakes come from, there was always this belief years ago that they predate on birds because they go up in the trees. Now, to my knowledge, there's been some research done on the gut contents, so like analysis of gut contents of wild Corallus caninus, and they have not found bird matter, at least to my understanding, not in any substantial amount, if at all, and actually have found rodents in their diet. So, I mean, first of all, you say, well, what are they going back down to the ground to feed? What are they doing? But my experience when I was in the Amazon, we would go out in the night time as well as in the day. So this is the time when those species feed, and you try to look for species like the Emerald Tree Boa or other nocturnal species. And there was one night where I was out. Remember, it's pitch black. All we have is the little head torches. And from the corner of my eye, I saw something zipping along in the branches above, and I was trying to pay attention to what it was, and I flicked my camera quickly, and I managed to catch a kind of small rodent. I don't know what the species is, but this thing was running up and down the trees in a way I have never seen a mouse-like creature do. It was amazing. I mean, the level of balance and control and coordination was insane. I do have a picture somewhere, so if I have a picture, I'm going to try and put it up on this video, and hopefully some specialist somewhere in the world can help me identify that species, because that really, I believe that type of creature is exactly the prey of Corallus caninus. They're hanging down in the trees, waiting above a branch somewhere for something to run by. Gut content analysis have shown that they're eating rodents, and they have phenomenal teeth. I mean, really long fangs, all four, where they're designed to try and catch something quickly and hold on to it, you know. So I'm going to try and find that photo if I can. It's been about 10 years since I took that photo, so I'm going to try and find it and put it up. But yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna show you guys the little short videos that I took of my brand new baby. We've named her Esmeralda, which means emerald, funny enough, and hoping that she is a female. I got female vibes. Ed said the same, and I really hope she is. I really hope she is. You know, maybe one day I might breed her if I feel that that's something I'd like to try. It's not really on my agenda, to be honest. I just really wanted to keep one and do it in a really natural way and enjoy that species, as well as try and give it the best possible life I can. So I'm just looking forward to that process, really. I'm a very patient person. I don't really rush through anything. I'm not in a hurry to do anything like that. But who knows? You never know. Anyway, I'll pop over to this video. Been chatting away for quite long, show you guys, and then, you know, let me know what you think about the beautiful Esmeralda. And yeah, any thoughts on your on my comments and my discussions, my experiences that I've shared here, and anything I should remember, actually, or know, anything new that I should know. Have you kept these species and you think, you know what, remember this because this was fundamental to me keeping Emerald Tree Boas or something like that? I would love to hear all your experiences and things that I should really know, because it's a brand new journey for me. I'm a relatively experienced snake keeper, but this is a new what do you call it, a new thing for me. So the Emerald Tree Boa is a brand new experience. So yeah, excited, slightly nervous, but putting 110% into making sure I get it right. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. We're in spring officially. The hours have changed here in the UK. The weather's looking a bit nicer, not as cold, and very, very excited to do more discussions, get outside maybe a little bit and show you some really cool things, and talk more. All right, see you soon.